Agung Tan Sri P. Ramling menampilkan artis terkemuka seperti Dayan Nofaiza, Hafiz Suib, Fairuz Misran serta barisan penyanyi-penyanyi tempatan. Teater musikal, irama dan lagu akan diiringi Simfoni Orkestra Negeri Sarawak, SANS. Saksikan secara langsung teater musikal, irama dan lagu Ahad 10 Oktober pada jam 8.45 malam hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My TV.
With this, like if you notice that people are not doing things willingly, right? They're just taking instructions and executing. What would you do?
I would usually talk to them.
How would you start?
Well, I'll actually take them out on breakfast, over laksa or something. So it sort of like, soften them up a bit.
Lower
don't put it in the office with your table and all that. So sit down, laksa, and then make sure they've finished eating already. So they're full, sated. And then you talk to them, say, hey, you seem to have a problem with this, what's up? So that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Hello there, you're now with me, Shal Shaminato, for TVS News at 5. Let's begin with the headlines. The Sarawak government remains committed at ensuring the well-being of its citizens, especially the elderly, is being taken care of. Now, Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tunopeng said this as the state enters an ageing population by 2030.
Abang Johari said more assistance will be given to the group as the population of over 60 in the state is expected to increase by 15 to 20% in the next decade.
Kita sekarang mengkaji the best instrument where we can give welfare assistance to the growing number of our population. Karena kalau umur 70 mungkin dah tak ada kerja lagi. Umur 80 mungkin EPF dah habis. Jadi we have to face this reality and we have to have certain instrument where we can give assistance, including financial assistance to this target group.
Earlier, the Chief Minister officiated the 10th anniversary of Sarawak Ministry of Welfare, Community Wellbeing, Women, Family and Childhood Development, KWKPK.
And now a quick update on the PULAU SATANG tragedy as it entered its 5th day today. The boat carrying 10 anglers sank 2 nautical miles from the waters of PULAU SATANG on October 2, was hoisted by rescuers. 9 on board of the fishing boat were rescued by fishermen near PULAU SATANG Besar during the wee hours on Sunday. Now dubbed the Okinawa, it was brought to the Telaga Air Jetty around 2 p.m. this afternoon. However, the search continues for the missing first mate, Awang Omar. On the other hand, an ambulance skidded before it plunged into a drain nearby the Sri Aman market during the wee hours on Wednesday, the latest string of accidents involving an ambulance this year. 3 occupants of the vehicle, namely the ambulance driver, a doctor and a nurse, escaped unharmed. Firefighters from Sri Aman Fire Station were dispatched to the scene after receiving reports of the incident at around 3:34 a.m. upon arrival. All 3 victims managed to exit from the wreckage with no injuries. Now, the cause of the accident is still being investigated. Last month, an ambulance ferrying a COVID-19 patient turned turtle in Kuching. Meanwhile, the Royal Malaysian Air Force RMAF will improve and tighten its standard operating procedure SOP of managing and handling weapons following the incident of 4 RMAF personnel being killed in a shooting incident at their camp in Kota Samarahan, Kuching last August 13. Deputy Defence Minister Datuk Seri Iqmal Hisham Abdul Aziz said this was among the elements being studied and investigated by the Inquiry Board to prevent reoccurrence of such incident. He regarded the incident as an isolated case because during training in the managing and handling of weapons, these weapons could not be arbitrarily taken out or used.
Untuk maklumat yang berhormat, insiden tembakan yang disebutkan tadi masih dalam siasatan polis diraja Malaysia bagi mengenal pasti sekiranya wujud elemen jenayah dan mengesahkan punca sebenar insiden.
Iqmal Hisham told Dewan Rakyat that the ministry also provided psychological and counselling services for all RMAF personnel in line with its need to tackle the mental health issue which could affect their state or preparedness.
Insiden tembakan yang telah berlaku melibatkan anggota TUDM di Kota Samarahan sememangnya memberi kesan trauma kepada anggota di pasukan tersebut. Tindakan susulan TUDM dengan menghantar tim kaunseling dan psikologi sejurus insiden itu berlaku sangat membantu anggota dan keluarga mangsa yang terlibat.
And now on to the next update. The Election Commission, or EC, encourages for Sarawakians and Sabahans residing in Peninsular Malaysia to apply for a change of their voting constituency based on their address. Now, Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department of Parliament and Law, Datuk Mas Ermiyati Samsudin, said this was to facilitate voting for a general or by-election.
Mas Ermiyati said according to Article 119 of the Federal Constitution, the EC determines a voter's constituency based on the voter's address stated in the identity card. The statement was made after being questioned regarding the actions taken by the government to enfranchise abroad voters or East Malaysian voters in Peninsular Malaysia. The minister also said that currently only voters in certain categories were allowed to. Among them are EC staff, election officials, military, police and the General Operation Force GOF personnel who are on duty during early voting, media practitioners who are covering the election outside the constituency on polling day, and Malaysians abroad. Meanwhile, Mas Ermiyati stated that no Malaysians, including those living overseas, was excluded from being enrolled as a voter under the automatic voter registration system.
Saluran Initiative. By 2030, the Sarawak government aims for Sarawak to become a developed state driven by data and innovation. The smart city concept is introduced to improve the efficiency of digital infrastructures. The smart traffic light system are available throughout Kuching, especially traffic congested roads, which can reduce travel time by 25%. With Sarawak Pay, the first e-wallet implemented by the Sarawak government helps to accelerate Sarawak's economic growth and encourage cashless payments. In addition, the online agriculture marketplace has eased rural farmers to promote and sell their products. Meanwhile, 800 CCTVs will be installed throughout Greater Kuching by the end of 2021 to provide a safer environment for the community. This will not only help with crime prevention, but also to warn of natural disasters and emergencies.
Dalam minggu finale, kebangkitan Ertuğrul musim pertama.
Bu bedende olduğu sürece
Ertuğrul mengukuhkan pengaruh dan kuasanya di Anatolia.
sancağını Anadolu'da tekrar dalgalandıracağım.
Hai risau, satu firasat yang kurang menyenangkan akan menjadi kenyataan.
Hayırdır inşallah kızım. Bir rüya gördüm. İyi.
Apakah pengakhiran bagi Puak Kai kali ini? Jangan lupa saksikan finale Kebangkitan Ertugrul, musim pertama, Isnin dan Selasa, 10.30 malam, hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan MyTV.
Hai, jangan lupa saksikan di balik tabir Getaran Jiwa yang bakal menemui anda 30 September ini setiap hari Khamis jam 5.45 petang, di mana saya Fatah Bolhanuddin akan menceritakan kepada anda pelbagai kisah yang menarik mengenai peserta kita dan yang paling penting elemen surprise kita hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan MyTV, drama mengimbau kenangan Getaran Jiwa.
Buat julung-julung kalinya, TVS menganjurkan teater musikal, irama dan lagu yang mengisahkan percintaan seniman agung Tan Sri P. Ramlee menampilkan artis terkemuka serta barisan penyanyi-penyanyi tempatan. Teater musikal, irama dan lagu akan diiringi Simfoni Orkestra Negeri Sarawak. Saksikan secara langsung teater musikal, irama dan lagu Ahad 10 Oktober pada jam 8.45 malam hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan MyTV.
Welcome back. And now on to some COVID-19 updates. The number of new COVID-19 cases increased by more than 500, with 9,380 cases recorded at noon today, from 8,817 cases yesterday. Now, Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, through a posting on Twitter and Facebook, said the increase brings the cumulative number of cases to 2,303,837 cases.
Noor Hisham added that Sarawak continues to have most cases, with 1,503 infections reported today. This brings the cumulative number of infections recorded by the state to 219,629 cases. This is followed by Kelantan with 1,170, Selangor with 1,116, and Johor with 1,105. Meanwhile, states that record new cases below 100 are Perlis with 42 cases, Putrajaya with 18, and Labuan with 8.
And now moving on to the next insight. Palm oil demand from India, the top buyer, climbed ahead of a festival season as vegetable oils are used to make local sweets, fried food and other treats. The robust surge of Malaysia's crude palm oil CPO was mainly driven by tight supplies and strong demand from China, as its price touches 5,000 ringgit per tonne for the first time in the day trade yesterday. Today, Bursa Malaysia CPO futures rose past the figures, locking at 5,050 ringgit per tonne. China is expected to increase its intake of palm oil for biofuel in light of its ongoing energy supply crisis. Meanwhile, plantation stocks on Bursa Malaysia were mostly up this morning after the CPO futures market rose to an all-time high yesterday. The plantation index surged 251.75 points to 6,655.99. Meanwhile, Malaysia collected 63.3 billion ringgit on income tax in the first 7 months of 2021. This comprised 41.8 billion ringgit in income tax from companies and 21.5 billion ringgit in income tax from individuals. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said Malaysia collected 99.6 billion ringgit of income tax in 2020. This comprised 66.5 billion ringgit from companies as well as 33.1 billion ringgit from individuals. Income tax collected from companies in 2020 was higher than the revised estimate of 59.4 billion ringgit in the Fiscal Outlook 2021 report. For 2021, the government anticipates income tax collection from companies to rebound at 64.6 billion ringgit. Meanwhile, individual income tax is expected to amount to 43.4 billion ringgit for the same year. And that concludes TVS News at 5. For more updates, don't forget to tune in to 11:30 Nightline tonight. Here with me, Shosha Metro, and I'll see you tonight. Have a good evening.
Anak yang tidak mendapat cukup makanan berkhasiat berisiko mengalami masalah berat badan, susut serta bantut. Kurang zat makanan akan menyebabkan anak kita kelihatan kecil dan rendah dari rakan sebaya, sering sakit, tidak aktif, bermasalah dalam pembelajaran, tidak produktif, kurang keyakinan diri dan berisiko kepada masalah penyakit lain. Jadi, pastikan anak kita